Go ahead and unmute if you have a question. Does anyone know where to begin? That's my question. Do you know where to begin?
Probably not.
Okay. Brian, you know what, Brian? I would love it if you told them if you suggested to them where they should be.
So let's see. I guess the first question would be, is everyone comfortable using Google Classroom?
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty much the starting point for being able to share materials and have students submit assignments online, starting out with Google Classroom. And then I guess moving from there, well, is anyone not familiar with it? See, a bunch of people are muted. So if you could just unmute so you can answer my questions, because I think that'd be faster than typing.
Hi, this is Edgar. I'm very familiar with using Google Classroom.
Okay, so that's good. That's a great place to start. I guess from there we can think about the different modes of communication that we usually teach. We have interpretive listening and reading. We have presentational writing and speaking, and then interpersonal writing and speaking. So I'm actually going to share, I'm going to send you guys a document in the chat that I just put together with a bunch of different resources organized by each domain. So we have listening, reading, speaking, and writing. And I just listed some resources that I use for each one of those. So I'm going to put that in the chat right now. And then if you could just, I don't know, open that, and then we'll just kind of go through it. The first link at the top is a link that another district has put together for distance learning with world language, and it's really good. And then beneath that, I've listed the resources that I use in my class. So I guess starting out with Edpuzzle. Has anyone used Edpuzzle before?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so the really great thing about Edpuzzle is you can give students a video to watch that you can find on YouTube. Many of them are already on the website Edpuzzle, but you can also kind of create or you can link your own video that you found. And then based on that video, you can ask them questions. So you can have the video pause and it'll give them a multiple choice question to answer, or they can type their answers for a short response, things like that. So I really love Edpuzzle, especially because there are already a lot of quizzes like that that have already been made. So if you go to the website, you can just kind of search like whatever topic you're teaching, and you can see if any other teachers have already made a video that teaches that same topic, and then you can share that with your students.
Okay.
So, and then there's Fluent Key, which is a similar website with videos. I kind of like it because the quizzes are more game-like. So if your students are really motivated by earning points and things like that, they might enjoy using Fluent Key, but it's very similar to Edpuzzle. Audible, which does the audiobooks, is currently offering like free audiobooks in a bunch of different languages. So if you go to stories.audible.com, you can find ebooks. If you're teaching upper level, you might be interested in sharing that with your students for listening practice. There's also the website Charlala. I don't know if anyone has ever used that, but it has two main uses. One is like a virtual whiteboard where students can draw. So for example, if you're telling them a story in your language or describing something that happened, you can have them draw it so you can see if they understand what you said, and then share that with you. And there's also like a speaking portion. So you can record a prompt where you ask them a question, or like even a virtual conversation where you have several questions that they have to answer. So I really love the website Charlala too for listening and speaking. And then Yabla has like a library of videos by language, and they're doing a free trial right now. So you can check that out. So for reading, Duolingo has stories in different languages. So you can send your students to that website, thestories.duolingo.com. And they're really simple stories that, you know, they can click on the words and it tells them what each of the words mean. And they also read the sentences out loud. So it's really good for both reading and listening. And then the website childrenslibrary.org has a bunch of like children's books available in Spanish and French. I don't think they have Japanese, or they might have Chinese, I'm not sure. But those are children's books that they can read for free online. Any questions about what I've gone over so far?
No.
Okay. So for speaking, I love using Flipgrid, which is a website where students can record short videos of themselves in response to a prompt that you post. So you can write a prompt like, for example, like, what did you do this weekend? And then students can respond to the prompt by recording a short video, and then it appears in a grid. So students can also watch the videos that other students have made, and you can even have them respond to each other. So they can kind of do like an asynchronous conversation where one student might ask a question, and then another student can respond to that student's question via video, and they can have a virtual conversation that way. So I also really love Flipgrid. If you just want them to record their voice, you can use the website Vocaroo. It's free. All they do is click record and they can record themselves, and then they get a little link, so they could turn in the link to you of their recording. Then, of course, using Google Meet or Zoom for like either doing a live class with your students where you're actually talking to them, or you can share whatever you have on your screen and they can just listen to you. And the great thing about that is that you can record it so that if students aren't able to make it to the meeting, then they can watch the recording later. And then I mentioned that Charlala has like you can record prompts for them to respond to for speaking as well. So for writing, Google Docs is great, especially if you're using Google Classroom, because you can have them turn in documents to you, and it's really quick and easy to grade and give feedback on those. I really like the website Padlet. If you ever have had students like write on a little post-it note and like stick it on a big poster or something like that, it's basically that, but it's the virtual version. So you create like a board basically, and then students can write in response to a prompt, or they can write a post and then other students can respond to that post, and you can see all of them in the same spot. So it's like a giant like poster board basically where they can write. And I've used the website Storyboard That, where they can create like a comic strip. So they can create little characters and with speech bubbles and like do a short little story in the language, and then save that and turn it into you. So that's like a neat little tool that I like to use. There's also Quizlet for vocabulary practice. I believe most textbooks have like their, you know, vocabulary by chapter or whatever already on there. So you could just search for the name of your textbook and whatever lesson or unit you're working on, and you'll probably find a set of vocabulary already on there. And they can do like flashcards, they can do little games with the vocab words. I also really like it because it reads the words out loud so they can hear how it's supposed to sound as well. You can, if you want, you could even do like a Quizlet Live, which normally when we're in the classroom, students would work in teams and they can play a game based on the vocabulary, but you can also do it virtually. Like if you had them all in a Zoom call, you could play the game and then they would work with their groups virtually through the video chat. So for grammar practice, I like the website Quizzes. So similar to Quizlet, you can often find things that you're already working on just by searching. So like you could search, I don't know, past tense or whatever, future tense, whatever you're working on, and there's quizzes that are already made, and you can assign them to your students to practice. So it's like, how to explain it? It'll give them a question, and there's like multiple choice answers, and they would, answer them. And it's kind of like a game, so they earn points. They can compete against each other if you do a live game, or they can just practice on their own and like keep, practicing the same questions over and over for extra studying of the grammar. Go Formative, I like. It's you can basically do online worksheets. So you could upload a worksheet that you already have, and then students can actually like type their answers in the worksheet and then turn that into you. And so you can check their progress with that. And it also has like automatic grading. So you can tell it like what the correct answers are, and it will grade the assignment for you for a multiple choice and short answer.
Can
then,
you repeat
yes.
the name of the last one you said?
It's Formative or Go Formative, GOFORMATIVE.
We're using it at Hercules High School, and actually at the moment they are offering the Pro for free because of the COVID. You can also insert video and have students record their own answers.
Yeah, it's a great
It's a very versatile tool.
I just want to jump in really quick and just mention something about a lot of these companies are offering free Pro for now. Be very careful about that because I'll be honest, what they're trying to do is get you hooked, and then
well, we already had the Pro version. We already had the Pro version at Hercules.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes.
But for the rest of you, just so you know, and with anything, there are so many of these companies that are jumping in.
Well,
and
yes, but at the same time, we're in a different situation right now, and I am taking advantage of two VOCs, and we're also getting advantage offers for a lot of the things related to T-Branché and EMC, which, once again, for the distance learning is going to change our life dramatically.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also a free version. So, I mean, I feel like there's no harm in using it just because they're not going to force you to pay at any point anyway.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Free is good. And just, I mean, and just in terms of, I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying these things out. I just want everyone to go into it understanding that, when this is all said and done, hopefully sooner rather than later, these companies might come back to you and say, okay, now you got to pay.
Yeah. So everything I listed in this document except for Yabla is free forever. So like you don't have to worry about ever needing to pay for them. Unless, you want to upgrade or whatever, but you don't have to. So has anyone used Google Forms quizzes?
Yes.
Okay. So I like that because you can basically, create a digital version of a paper quiz that you might give with multiple choice, short answer, long or paragraph response. It can also do auto grading, so it grades it for you. That's another option that you can use for grammar. And then for culture, so Google has this arts and culture virtual tours of museums all around the world. So you could have your students do a tour of a museum in the country of the language that you're teaching and look at the art there. You can also do Google Maps Street View. So you could take them literally to the country that you're teaching about and show them around town, but using Street View. So that would be a great opportunity for them to see it, and also you could describe, what's going on on the screen. So it's another chance for listening practice, things like that. Culturegram has like some cultural facts about each country in the world. They're all in English, but if you want just some extra, culture things for them to read about. And then of course, the Fluent Key and Edpuzzle, all the videos have something to do with culture anyway, so that's another way to loop that in. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that I put together. Does anyone have any questions about anything, like any strategies that you normally do during class and you're wondering how would you do it online, things like that?
I have a question. It's not specifically about teaching class, but I want to know about the biliteracy award and seal. What are we doing with that? Because I have my students reading books for
Mhm.
the, but I don't know if we can submit the application.
I
Or-
have no idea.
Okay.
I have not heard anything about that.
So I guess I'll just email them soon.
Yeah.
Get the application by May or so.
Mhm.
I think you're going to email the M&M department. Is that correct? Isaul?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to email him and ask him about that, because I'm not really sure about that either.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions about, like, you know, how we would go about doing world language stuff online?
I guess I have a question about the grading system,
Hmm.
how that's going to work.
You mean as far as, are we allowed to give grades for things?
Yes.
So you're going to have to speak to your principal about that.
Okay.
I think that's the best person to talk to about
Okay.
that one right now. Right now, though, Brian, I was wondering if you could just kind of share with them what you've been doing, because you did
Mhm.
email me recently about your success with Flipgrid, and I think
Oh, yeah.
that's important.
Yeah. So I've been posting daily assignments to Google Classroom, and often I'll do a check-in with Flipgrid. So I'll just ask them, like, how are they doing, or like give them a prompt to respond to. And I have lately been really into giving or making them do a structured conversation. So I give them a prompt, and then the student has to respond to the prompt, and then they have to ask a question for another student to answer, and then another student will respond to them, answer their question, and then they have to respond. So it's like a three-chained conversation where they have to ask a question and answer, ask a question and answer, just like we would do in class, but it's online. And the great thing about it is because our students, you know, have different things going on at home, they can do it whenever they're able to, and it's not like they have to all be there at the same time, but they can still, you know, participate in this conversation.
Brian, can you share that screen? Can you show them Flipgrid?
Oh, yes, I will do that.
So do you know how to share your screen here?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Give me a second.
Sure. It always takes a second. I've been doing it, I don't know how many times the past 2 weeks, and it still takes a minute to get set up. So Brian's going to show you Flipgrid, which is an excellent tool that actually I've been working with some other teachers at El Cerrito High, the world language teachers, to show them how this works. It's great. So here we go.
Okay, so you go to flipgrid.com and you click sign in as a teacher, and you just use your Google account, your WCC USD account. And then you create grids. So I have one for each one of my classes. And then within the grid, you can create different topics for them to respond to. So, for example, here I just asked them, like, how are you doing today? And they had to answer with two sentences, and then they had to respond to the video of a classmate and then respond to the response. So then I can see all the videos here. This is what it looks like when you're logged in as a teacher. But if you actually look at the grid as a student, you can see the videos of everyone else who's responded, and you can like click on it and respond yourself. Like, see here, two other people. Well, that's him, but you know, they can respond to each other that way. Yeah, some students are kind of shy about recording videos of themselves, but the good thing about Flipgrid is they can like cover their face up with stickers. So students who have, you know, are less confident about their, you know, showing their face in a video don't have to worry about it because they don't really need to. The most important part is the speaking and listening. But it is still nice to see their faces and kind of feel like we're still connected as a community that way. So yeah.
I have a question. Do you provide any type of feedback, or do you put this in PowerSchool? Obviously, not for a grade, but do the students receive any kind of feedback from you?
Yeah, so once you watch the video, you can give them feedback using a rubric, or you can type a comment. So like usually I'll give them like a general grade for the language use and like performance versus like accuracy. And then I might, type a comment if I have something else to say about what they did. And they will get that in Flipgrid. I have not been, putting any of this into PowerSchool because, we're not suggested to use any of this for grades for right now.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want me to show you? I can show you from sharing from my screen.
Hey, Brian, I just had a really quick question. When you have them turn those in, I know you said that you did the threaded discussions, which of course would be an open grid, but I was wondering if you ever use the moderated grid so that kids can just turn something into you with only you being able to see that.
I actually have not done that. I know it's possible, but most of my grids have been something where I want them to be able to see each other. But you can also set it up so that students will only submit a video where you as the teacher can see it. So you can use that for an assessment if you want. So it's individual and not like they can see everyone else and what they're doing too.
Great, thank you. And just a shameless plug right now, we are going to be giving Flipgrid training. I can't remember exactly what day. I think it's tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. I don't know if you have seen the, there's a schedule on the WCC e-learning site. I have already put in the chat the URL for that. So go check that out, and those are free PD, and you do not have to sign up. You just show up, just like you did for this office hour.
Yep. Any other questions?
No.
Great. Well, thanks for coming. I hope all this makes sense. I don't know, Lori, do you think maybe you could either or add the document I put in the chat on the e-learning website, or maybe email it to people? I'm not sure how, for those who didn't make it.
I'm gonna be putting everything on the e-learning site.
Okay.
Probably that's going to be my nightly job, is to put up all the videos and to put up all the resources as well.
Okay.
Okay. You guys can also, if you have any questions at all about this, you can email elearning@wccusd.net. So that's I'll go ahead and put that in to the chat. But especially if it has anything to do with you're wondering exactly how to get set up on Flipgrid, or you need help getting set up on Google Classroom, we are having trainings on that tomorrow morning at 8:30 and on Wednesday morning at 8:30 as well. So, definitely take advantage of the PD for sure. And we're going to be putting more resources up on the website.
Thank you. Actually,
yes.
I have a question for all of you. Since we've talked amongst our department saying that, especially this week before finals, or actually before grades for Q3 are due in our school, we've been talking about maybe assigning like, hey, there's this film out there for kids to do like a what's it called? Dialectic journal for them to view those films or read a text. Have any of you found a website for that we can provide students with films that are available not through Netflix, because obviously not every student has Netflix, other than YouTube? Any like website with films that are maybe just free for students to, and obviously that are in Spanish?
Contra Costa Library has a list of digital resources. There is something called Canopy,
Canopy.
and you have access to movies. You can look into this one.
Thank you.
And also the Contra Costa Library, any person from Contra Costa can have access to Rosetta Stone for free on their website. So the problem is we cannot track whether students are using it or not, but if they're interested.
Thank you. All right.
Any other questions about anything with world language? Well, that's pretty much all I have for you. If you have questions about the things that I've shared, you can also email me. I'll put my email address in the chat. I don't mind responding to that. It's just michael.smith@UCCUSD.
I like to
Thanks,
just
Michael. Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to bring up, because I remember somebody asking about grades. After reading the MOU this morning, all it says is that all our assessments should be formative and not the other form.
Summative?
Yes, summative. But at the same time, they want us to, it just sounds like they're still negotiating, but they said they're going to have a clear thought of it by the 13th of April, before, by the time we start grading. So that's all we know right now.
Yeah. Figured out by April 13th, even though quarter 3 are due this Friday.
Oh yes, actually no, they said something about that too. So for quarter 3, we're ending it on the last day of school. So that was on the 13th of May, right? That was, so yes, so everything there. And just grade them on that. And they said only necessary assignments. If it's not that necessary to grade, then you don't have to grade it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. But I've been telling my students from the beginning, you're only graded up to the last assignment we did that week. And I posted it on PowerSchool. They have access, and they know what to do. So I told them submit it by the 27th, and they had 2 weeks notice. So whoever's turning it in has done it already.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll tell us more about when report cards and stuff like that is going out.
Yeah. Well, Lori, I think I don't really have anything else to share. Should I just stick around in case other people show up?
You don't have to. I mean, we got a pretty good number of people in here. So including me and you, it's 10 people, which I think is great.
Yeah.
So, just so you all know, there are trainings going on all this week. And you don't have to register. You just show up just like you did for this hangout. Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.